we've also just had in Israel the deadliest strike in the West Bank in, I believe, over 2 decades, bombing the Tulkarm refugee camp, killing, I think, 18 people. And that's just the nature of this genocide right now. Things are so horrible in Gaza, and now expanding the Israeli aggression on that the West Bank always gets overlooked. But there you have, the constant terror of settlers and soldiers against the Palestinians there, and now you've had recent Israeli raids that have been very deadly, and now you have even a literal airstrike on a refugee camp on the West Bank.
20 killed. Many of them were resistance fighters. Many children were killed. Israel dropped a bomb in the Tulkarm refugee camp. It's a site of resistance. The PA has lost control there, the Vichy regime that acts as the occupation subcontractor, as they have in Jenin, as they have in Nur al-Shams. And this represents a project to Gaza-fy the West Bank. Everyone in the West Bank fears that they are next. And the US administration, which claims that it favors a two-state solution, is doing nothing to support this. I mean, to oppose this. And when we talk about Gaza-fication, we mean siege, we mean the use of heavy weapons, 500-pound bombs. And yeah, we're seeing it. Israel is also is worried because resistance is growing. They're supposedly smuggling weapons through Jordan. Israel can't control the entire region, and it is refusing to engage in any political solution. And we've just been talking for like 20 minutes about how completely owned Washington is. So the only solution left for Palestinians and their allies is military force. I mean, David Frum, Iraq war criminal, now embraced by the Democrats, joked the other day that Hezbollah, his leadership, all got assassinated because they failed to deter Israel with college students protesting on campuses. And he was, it's a funny neocon joke. But if you actually interrogate the logic of what David Frum is saying, he's saying Israel only understands force. They will not, and Washington as well, official Washington as well, and they will not respond to the appeals of thousands and thousands of young people protesting against this genocide. They don't care about the American people, and that the only thing that will stop them and prevent them from further assassinations is to mete out the same kind of punishment on their population that they have done to others until they understand that the price tag is too high. That's actually what David Frum and Israel's supporters are saying now. And so the axis of resistance is beginning to learn that lesson, but they're still showing restraint, as we articulated at the top of this stream, by targeting military targets exclusively inside Israel. How long will that restraint last? Well, I don't think it'll last after the next round if Israel decides to attack Iranian oil and gas infrastructure. And as the IRGC's chief said hours ago, Israel really only has 3 major oil facilities off its shores, and that they can easily be destroyed. If they can't be defended with the Iron Dome and U.S. warships, then, all bets are off. I mean, they're actually using the language of ending Israel as we know it in retaliation for another Israeli strike. So that's where we're at, thanks to the politics of joy. Anything you want to add here? We could do like a Ukraine segment.
Just that this is an unbelievably horrific moment, and it's just hard to be saying that after nearly a year. A year ago, or nearly a year ago, when October 7th happened, I mean, we all knew Israel would carry out mass murder in Gaza. That's anyone familiar with Israel's history knows that it just survives on instilling fear in the indigenous population whose land it stole, which means that when the indigenous people fight back, it has to restore quote unquote deterrence, which means massacring civilians, as it always does. But to think that Joe Biden would have allowed this to go on for a year and then expand it to Lebanon, I knew that there would be a green light given to Israel in Gaza, but I just did not think a year later they'd be seizing this opportunity to now impose the regional order that they've always dreamed of, at the cost of tens of thousands upon tens of thousands of civilians, now at the risk of full-scale war with Iran. But that's how deeply committed our establishment is to hegemony, to U.S.-Israeli hegemony, and the idea of engaging in diplomacy with their adversaries is anathema. They can't even fathom it. And when you have a Secretary of State like Antony Blinken, who goes to Israel and says, "Come here as a Jew," and who is allergic to diplomacy, literally, he's not capable of it. You're going to have a situation like this, and it's a month before the election, and it's just incredible how many horrific things can happen in such a short amount of time, and just how much worse it could get, as horrible as it is right now. It's hard to fathom.